Hi everyone, this is Brian Hayes and welcome to episode 44 of the Music Mind podcast. Today my special guest hails from Brisbane, Australia. She is a wonderful performer, singer, songwriter, pianist and music educator. Please enjoy my conversation with Kelsey Giarola.
Some people live for the fortune. Some people live just for the fame. Some people live for the power, And some people live just to play the game. Some people think that the physical things define what's within, but I've been there before. That life's such a bore, so full of the superficial. Some people want it all, but I don't want nothing at all. If it ain't you, baby, if I ain't got you, baby. Some people want diamond rings, some just want everything, but everything means nothing. I ain't got you yet.
Well, hi Kelsey and welcome to the Music Mind podcast. Fantastic to have you here today as my special guest for episode 44 in the series.
Thank you for having me, Brian. It's been such a pleasure and honour to be on here.
Great. Our audience have just seen and heard a wonderful solo version that you recorded of the Alicia Keys song, If I Ain't Got You. My first question, I guess, is how do you go about picking? There's millions of songs you can do. What's your process, if you have one, to pick a song that you think you're going to really relate to and that will work well in a solo setting?
That is a really good question. And I think there's a couple of things that I look for when picking a song. One of the main ones I find that I've learnt and experienced over time is if I really enjoy the song, then it's going to come across a lot more. So I love what Alicia Keys does in that tune, and it really just shows off the texture of the voice and also the range of her voice as well, and also as well her amazing keys playing. And I thought, let's combine it. Don't make it easy for myself. Let's see what happens. But I really love that. I really love that song and the style of song as well. I think you can really move time and you can make it your own in that way.
Oh, it really suits your voice and your piano playing. So you've obviously got a fabulous voice and we want to explore that. But the first thing I'd like to discuss is what's it like as a piano player sitting behind a Steinway concert grand? I assume you don't have one in your apartment.
Oh, not yet. It is a dream. Goodness.
What is that like? I mean, because for people who have never played the piano, the Steinway sort of is the accepted Rolls Royce of grand pianos, and they're not cheap. They're not a cheap little toy. What does it feel like? Tell me, what is that vibe like sitting behind that instrument?
Oh, it's beautiful. It just is so fluid and so beautifully made that, of course, that comes with all the expense. And the sound of it is just so pure and so clean that when you play it, it almost reflects every little nuance that, you need to fix in your own technique, or that it's not a forgiving instrument when it's so beautifully made. But it makes it even more, when you have that sound coming back at you from what you're playing, you can really just blend with it together it's such a stunning instrument, such a stunning brand.
So that's the piano. We've talked a little bit about playing on a great instrument. You've got a great instrument that you were born with, your voice. Do you see your voice as an instrument, or is it just your voice, you've always had it, and away we go? Talk about that a little bit.
I think it's a bit of both. So one, I've been born with this instrument that it's always been a part of me. So in a way, I don't separate it as an instrument.
Right.
So the way that it moves and the way that you have to train it and, extend it or bring in different colors, definitely treat it like an instrument as well. So if you're adding, a breathy tone, or if you want to really belt out a note, the approach that you make is really important to get that diversity, I think, of color and of, flexibility, agility, direction, in intent, intensity, everything that you would want from, instead of just playing, for example, I mean, you've got many beautiful instruments behind you, but with a saxophone, if you play one note and you go, oh yeah, that's good enough, it could be good enough, but if you want the flexibility in that note alone, I think you've got to test the boundaries of that. So to treat the voice like an instrument in the same respect is, I think that's very important to do. And to also know that because it's in you, it's, flesh and muscles and all of that, cartilage, bone. So it's knowing that it can fluctuate a lot.
You wake up, you wake up tomorrow and think, my instrument's not quite as flexible as it was yesterday.
That's it. I've just got to tune it. So I'm just going to...
screw that little screw.
Exactly.
Now, just to close out, if I ain't got you, you also do the wonderful party trick, which I don't think people realise. I mean, I'm a good barbecue singer, by the way. I can sing Knocking on Heaven's Door as good as the next bloke at the RSL club. But I know what it's like to actually sing and play an instrument. And it's not something that everyone can do well. How do you, I mean, you've got your two hands on the Steinway and you're telling Alicia's story in your own way. Do you separate those tasks, or is it just this wonderful, hello, I've got one instrument, me and the piano? What does it feel like when it's working well, when it's coming off?
Absolutely. So I think when it is working well, it's this beautiful mixture of feeling and emotion coming into both your, hands and fingers and also your voice. Yeah. So I'm not necessarily being distracted by, oh, I've got to play this note, or I forgot about this word or this lyric. I want to say it in this way. And that's where I think the practice of them, both separately but together, to make sure that there is flow and there is movement in that. Otherwise, it can become too stagnant or too like you're thinking about it.
Yeah.
So for me, very important to practice that under, together and under duress in a way, to go again and again. And how would I change that? Is that what I feel? Record it, listen back, all of those sorts of things.
Fantastic. And we're going to delve into, your advice to people and that, but that's you've already just accidentally dropped a great bit of advice there that I believe in, is record yourself often. Because I remember the first time, I mean, I've been playing, it's a bit embarrassing, but I think I've been playing 55 years now. And when I first started, Dad got what I think was the world's first ever cassette deck. It certainly looked like it. and when I first heard myself playing back, I'm blaming the technology. I don't sound good at all. I'm out of tune. I'm this and that. And eventually you sit back and think, look, the technology mightn't be great, but mate, your tuning does sound a bit out when you hear it back. So I totally agree, and we'll delve into that a little bit more, your sort of advice there. Let's move forward a little bit, because the next track I want to play, the next clip, all of your clips are quite short, so today we can feature a lot of them, because most of your clips are 1 minute or 1.5 minutes or something. This is you in front of a band, and this is you now standing there as a singer. No responsibility on any instrument, but you've got a great 6-piece band behind you with horns and everything. Let's have a look at it first. You're doing 2 Michael Jackson songs, Blame It on the Boogie and The Way You Make Me Feel. Let's have a look and a listen, and then we'll come back. fantastic band. Everyone's working together well. It's beautifully filmed and it's beautifully recorded. First up, who were your backing musicians?
So I'm very fortunate to work with a lot of wonderful musicians, and particularly in this setting, we've got Josh Hatcher on sax, Bob Schultz on trumpet, Darren Muller on the drums, Jeremy O'Connor on bass, Josh Boyd on guitar, and Cleon Barraclough on the keys.
Fantastic.
So, yeah, brilliant.
And there's great empathy amongst all of you. There's no one in that band saying, look at me, is the spotlight on me? Which is one of my pet peeves when I go and see a band. Someone's trying to be a hero and they're playing the triangle, sort of. If you know what I mean, that's
Absolutely.
Right. I think we've all been there and had that. So my question here is, this is very different. You are out front in the lead singer's role. Talk about that. What does it feel like when you can't hide? There's nowhere to hide. You can't hide behind any instrument and everyone's looking at you. You're telling the story. Tell us a bit about that. What is that? What's the differ? How does that differ from sitting behind the grand piano singing and playing?
So exactly what you were saying. You can't hide behind an instrument now. You're out the front. And I think what comes to the foreground more so is what you're saying and how you're saying it and how you're interacting with the band. And like you were saying, it's not putting on a front necessarily, though there's nothing wrong with, putting on a facade depending on the context. But for me, it's interacting with the band members and being part of that team, which really comes across, especially when it's being filmed, but also especially live. If you have a disconnect to any of the musicians, the audience will feel it. You will also feel it and will definitely see it on camera. So, for me, it's about connecting.
Awkward moments.
Oh dear. Yeah. So I think for me, when out in front, I see myself to some degree as leading the band.
Absolutely.
But I also see me being part of a team, because without them, I'd be singing essentially karaoke.
Yeah. Oh, that's some good insights. Look, just delving into that a little bit more, you may have a different view on this, but I've always felt that a female lead singer has added pressure on needing to look good and not just sound good. The lead, Jimmy Barnes can get up there with a beer gut and, dressed in a T-shirt and hasn't had a shave in 6 months, and people are going to say, yay, Jimmy. But if the lead singer comes out and carrying a couple of kilos and might be wearing the same dress as someone else in the audience, is that just my perception, or do you also feel that extra pressure that it's also what I look like and as I present myself, not just how I sing?
Pressure for sure. I think that presentation, it definitely comes across exactly how you were saying, and I like to mention to the band members, if they wear the same suit or tux to their gigs, I'm like, you guys can get away with it. If I wore the same dress, it would come up and people go, hasn't she got anything else to wear?
100%. The biggest decision us guys have to make is it a bow tie tonight or is it the other tie? That's the biggest fashion decision.
So jealous. So envious. And I've seen interviews with, big stars that say the exact same thing. They go, because there is a little bit more pressure for the female singer to look good, she will require different outfits. So in a way, they've explained it that it is a more expensive investment for a female singer. And I thought that was really interesting because I've not necessarily thought about it. I've gone with, yes, you present well and you have different outfits for different occasions, and that's the thing that you do. But putting that in front of, side by side, you go, hey, yeah.
So I just want to come back on one thing you talked about, feeling the excitement. And in a live performance, the audience can give you that instant feedback. Have you got any tips of the trade as to how to bring that same excitement into a recording studio? So that like if you're bored out of your brain and just singing, anyone with ears is going to pick up, this is not a particularly good take.
Yeah.
How do you, do you imagine you're on stage? Talk about that a little bit. How do you bring that excitement into a recording studio?
That's a great question because for me at least, I feel that they are two different beasts. The recording studio is in a way almost a sterile environment where there's a mic, there's no movement necessarily. There's a microphone, you walk up to the microphone and you sing and you know, put as much feeling into that. So I think for me, a couple of tricks are I like to be fun and, you know, a little bit silly. So the people that I have around me, if we joke or we go, oh yeah, that was out of tune, Kels, can you just do that again? Like that take. And I'm like, I could go more out of tune. Those sorts of things. So having a little bit of humor and that can break the pressure that you go, oh, I have to get this right. Instead of going more into your head, you go, okay, this is, you know, let's just have a little bit of a breather.
Oh, I think that is a wonderful way to treat life and also as a musician. Now, we've got the pleasure today of seeing you in different scenarios. You know, we've seen you solo, we've seen you out front of a 6-piece band with horns. I want to play a track now, Valerie, the Amy Winehouse song. Now, you're here with a trio this time, just drums, bass and guitar. So let's have a look and a listen to Valerie, and then we'll come out and talk a bit about that setting.
Well, sometimes I go out by myself and I look across the water, and I think of all the things what you're doing, and in my head I paint a picture. Oh, but since I come home, well, my body's been a mess, and I miss your ginger hair and the way you like to dress. Won't you come on over and stop making a fool out of me? Why don't you come on over, Valerie? Valerie, 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 why don't you come on over, Valerie?
Do you remember the guys playing those instruments, drums, bass and guitar behind you in that one?
Yes, I think it's Josh Boyd on guitar, Jeremy O'Connor on bass, and Darren Muller on drums. All fabulous musicians.
Certainly are. That you know, my first comment is, what a great sound for a 3-piece backing band. You know, it's good musicians can really change a vocalist's life. I'm sure you'd agree with that.
Absolutely. You can hear the difference if you have, you know, 3 really experienced musicians as opposed to 3 that are starting out. You know, you're able to do more, like what we were saying before with the flexibility of notes.
Now, Amy Winehouse sadly led a difficult life in music, and she's not the only one. I mean, if you think of history's just dotted with it. You know, Elvis Presley at the top of the world and he froze his life away. You know, I need the drugs. Amy had a real alcohol problem, and sadly she was sort of on top of it, but then it eventually took her out. The music business can be difficult. What's your take? You're a young performer in there, right in the thick of the music business. What's your take on living a healthy life as a musician?
This is where in a way, and I'm not advocating for it, but I can understand how some of those top musicians can go down that sort of a path, especially with the pressures, or you can't cancel the shows. If you have less control over what you do, then there's nowhere to escape. So for me, looking at, you know, musicians who go down that path, you can think, yeah, that is an option for sure. For me, it's never been. I just love, I love the music so much, and I've got, I think, a lot more freedom in that you're not doing, you know, stadium tours, and you're not expected to do these press conferences early in the morning and that sort of a thing. So for me, having that balance of being able to hone in on a craft,
yes,
and also having time to do things that are also really important to you, you know, friends, family, having a bit of that sort of time, is really, really important. But I've also never been driven towards, it's very easy. For example, there are many gigs where people will come up and they go, "Oh, would you like a drink?" Because you're the musician, you're going to say,
water would be good. Glass of water would be good.
Glass of water. So
yeah.
This is where if I have one glass of champagne or something, I get really tipsy, and my tolerance level is terrible, but my pitch is even worse. But I think so. Water all the way, but also those things can become habits.
Yes.
And then those habits can become extended. You can expand them, and that's where you can fall down a really slippery slope. So I think for me, it's just keeping really strict boundaries and going, my vocal health is more important to me than, having a drink on this night. But I'm really strict with that because I believe that it can descend really quickly. And also, for me, being able to perform and giving it the best chance of recovery and of doing its maximum effort is more
great
exciting.
Advice. Yeah, great advice. I suppose, and the other word that you said was balance. And I think in a lot of musicians' lives, and I want to talk about this too, that there's this strange thing that there's a difference between playing at a professional level and being a professional musician. There's been some amazing musicians all around the world, who are quietly moonlighting as the local dentist and playing the hell out of their instrument on Friday and Saturday nights. So I think, and that's something that's come across with a lot of my guests, is there's no shame if you can't put food on the table, playing the music you want to play, and maybe that 38th cruise ship job is not the answer. Maybe it is something that you need. If there's something else you enjoy other than music, don't be embarrassed to do it. Would you sort of agree on that? I've seen a lot of my friends, I've got to be a professional musician. I'll go and play that 5-hour gig for $50 and I've got to wrestle the bartender to get the $50 at the end of the night because I need to be playing as a full-time musician. It doesn't go with me.
Absolutely. And I would agree with that as well. There's a lot of sacrifice. I mean, even to, being a professional musician, there's a lot of skill that is needed, a lot of time, a lot of energy. And that's not just also physically knowing your instrument. It's also mentally, having that space, that capacity for it. So I also agree. There is definitely no shame in if the balance of, especially if you've got family or you've got other things that you're looking after financially, to be the dentist, during the week. And I've got many friends in that position too.
Absolutely.
Then also will play the heck out of their instrument on a Friday and Saturday night. That is brilliant. You are brilliant. Such a brilliant musician. I can't do that. But them, they might do teeth during the day, and there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that, because I think there are some people in the industry who absolutely judge. You're not doing it 5 days a week. Then you're not really a musician.
Yeah.
But then, they can't see the level of musicianship that is out. I think it's a little bit unfair.
I agree. Now, just to close out, I suppose, the Amy Winehouse type direction we went on, a lot of the reason that people do seek, alcohol and drugs and what have you, is this thing called stage fright. That, hello, the cameras are on me and I'm getting nervous. Is stage fright something you've had to deal with, or are you one of the lucky ones where it hasn't really been a problem?
Ooh, that is a great question. I think I've had an interesting evolutionary relationship with stage fright. When I was really young, children have no fear, I think. Well, they have a lot of it, but then it's just learning what that is. So when you're exposed, and I've learned music from a very young age, in front of audiences, it's almost second nature. However, there are moments where if you're performing in front of family members, for me, it's people who are really close to you, and you think, what are they going to think? Is this going to be of a standard that's enjoyed by them? And I've switched that relationship with stage fright into going, have I put as much energy and effort into the music as possible? And let's have fun. Let's have fun. Instead of, am I going to forget the lyrics? Am I going to do something wrong? Am I going to miss a cue? At the end of the day, no one's died, hopefully, and you get to express and you get to explore and create with people and create this moment of energy and of something that you really love. I think it's we're very fortunate and lucky to do that. And it's really that's not to say it can't come and go, but it's going, what am I putting at the forefront? Because things can go wrong. And it's not ignoring the fact that they can, but you go, but things can go so right, and let's have fun, because they go more right when you have a lot of fun and you're prepared.
The great Australian jazz trumpeter and multi-instrumentalist James Morrison, he said in an interview once, and it's burned into my brain. The interviewer said, James, what's your advice on stage fright? And he said, I'm not the best person to ask that. And, like the interviewer said, what do you mean? He said, well, I've never experienced it. And he said, why would I be anything other than excited out of my skin to stand in front of an audience and do something I know I can do well and share that with my audience? And I thought, wow, there's a psychology course in one little phrase there. Absolutely. If you love doing it, why wouldn't you just go out there and share it?
Absolutely. And that's what I find is that difference. The ones that have a lot of stage fright, from what I see, are worried about the implications on themselves. Which is nothing negative or positive. It's just an observation. But then seeing those who are really excited going like, let's do it. Let's just get out and share music. It is exciting. I think that's an excellent quote.
Oh, it is. It's burned in my brain.
Brilliant attitude.
Now, your background, you said there a minute ago, you've sort of been studying and playing music from a young age. What is your background in music? How did you first find music? Tell us that story.
That's a great question. I think for me, my beginning story, I've come out of the womb essentially like tapping along and dancing and singing and jigging and doing that sort of a thing, being brought up on mum and dad's music. And the first or one of the earliest memories I have is mum brought me along to a music class that my sister was in. Okay. And I just sat there and absorbed. This was my first exposure to music theory, because I just loved singing and tapping around the house. And I think mum probably got sick of me doing that. She enrolled me in a group singing class with Laurie Gaffney, and it was in Sherwood. And she was, I was part of the class, and I, what's this? It's a crotchet. What's this? It's a semi-brief. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't sit still. I was just there going, I know what that is. I know what that is. I recognize it. And all of a sudden, Laurie was going, you realize that she's really attuned to music. She's got this gift for it. So you should put her into more classes. And it was really natural for me. And so I went from group classes to singing in the choir to learning to sight sing at a really early age. And it was just not a chore. It was never a chore for me. I just loved it. So the more I could get, the better. And from there, I grew into, having more choirs during school and doing all the music classes and anything co-curricular to do with music, almost to a detriment because that balance word sort of fluctuates. But then I started learning jazz in high school and auditioned for the Queensland Conservatorium of Music, and got into the jazz program there and learned jazz as my bachelor degree, and went out and gigged and thought, I need to do a little bit more like of a more rounding sort of genres of music to be hired more frequently.
Yes.
So diving into funk and pop and a little bit of folk and that sort of a thing. And then came back to do my master's. That was in vocal pedagogy, more to do with, I was just really interested in the voice, because understanding your instrument, how it's made, how it moves, how you can change it, and it grows, from lots of different things, what affects it, that fascinated me. So I've been a little bit of a quilt work with different styles, because you can just learn so much.
It's never ending.
It's never ending. No. And I love it.
So the voice has obviously just been, your primary focus, but what about the piano journey? Is that formal study on the piano?
There was I did the AMEB exams when I was in primary school and secondary school. And for me, it was just a little bit tricky because my voice was, for me, the priority or the favored instrument, as it were, dare I say it.
Yes.
So the piano came with me and then left, and then came with me and then left, and then came with me and then left. So it had this ebb and flow effect. But as I've got more time, and also with different gigs requiring me to do piano, and I thought, I really need to hone more and more skill. And again, that's never ending too. I'm always learning on my voice, and I feel I'm always learning on the keys. So I went, let's do it. Let's challenge that. I can, use this skill to songwrite and use this skill to accompany myself and really feel at one with. And sometimes I would have these moments of, I'm not necessarily a concert pianist touring on these, Steinway pianos.
No.
However, to accompany myself enough to support what I want to sing and what I want to say, that for me was, let's get to that level and let's keep stretching that level because it just feels so good.
Great. And I think that's great. You're obviously a closet Tommy Emmanuel fan. You've got a guitar in the background. What's your guitar skills like? So that's a piece of furniture. Is that a piece of furniture? Okay.
Yeah.
So it's piano and the voice. It's the piano and the voice.
No, but I've learned basic guitar. So it's open chords.
Yeah.
And that for me has been more of a songwriting tool. However, I've really enjoyed learning, applying a different or like a theory to a different instrument. It's been really, really fun, which you definitely know a lot about with all your instruments behind you.
Well, interestingly, my party trick is I can play a million instruments to a pretty good level, and I'm totally self-taught.
Brilliant.
So my approach is very similar to yours, even though I can't sing for nuts, but that won't stop me having a go. Everything I play, I'm hearing in my head. I can have the chat with Bozo about the Mixolydian scale and we can all nod and isn't that fun? But at the end of the day, everything I play is a melody I'm hearing in my head, including on guitar when I'm playing chords. I'm sort of hearing the big band shuffling in the background as I'm playing. Well, is that something... Well, the way you play piano, it doesn't sound like rehearsed to me. Are you sort of almost doing similar on the piano? Are you sort of feeling what you want that piano to sound like?
Yes. So, and this is exactly what you were saying. When I rekindled the piano after high school a little bit, because I left it for a little bit of time and then came back, I could hear what I wanted it to sound like, but I couldn't quite get these digits to produce the notes that I wanted. So that took that, and it still will, however complicated you want it to be, can take a little bit of time to do that. But having practiced and rehearsed and going, okay, here are some basic scales, arpeggios, you get more flexibility, and then you are able to express what you want to express with the voice or without. But it absolutely, it needs its own time to be able to do that.
You've got a great little short introduction to your vocal studio on your website. I want to play that for the audience now, and then we'll talk just a little bit more about how you approach teaching versus performing.
Hi, my name is Kelsey Giarola. My studio is located here in Brisbane, Australia, and I specialise in teaching vocal technique. When you come into my studio, I help tailor exercises for your voice and your specific vocal conditions, whether you have a voice break or you're finding trouble after 4 hours of singing and then you lose your voice, or whether you find that something's not connecting in the voice or you have some sort of tension somewhere. I tailor those exercises so that you can have access to a freer, more balanced technique. I'm also trying to explain to my students what's happening in their voice so that they get a sense of ownership, of mastery, not someone telling them what to do. I think that's very important. My goal is to train voices to sing in a free and natural manner, smoothly from the bottom of their range to the top of the range, with no breaks or sudden changes in quality. This allows singers to access all of their dynamics with tonal clarity and flexibility. I love it when they get this aha moment and you can just see it in their eyes and they feel the difference. Booking is easy, details are on my website, and I'm really looking forward to working with you.
So Kelsey, tell us a bit more about your approach to teaching. Do you tailor each lesson to the particular needs of the student, or do you have a bit of a little bit of in your mind, a course, here's page 1 and we'll go to page 20? What's your approach?
That's an excellent question. What I like to do, especially if it's a new student, because the student may have their own goals in mind. They may have their own direction that they're wanting. So I will ask them when they first come in, what is it that you would like to express from your voice, or what's causing you issue, or that you feel you're not able to express. And so then they might run through, I want to extend my range, or, I feel like I can't quite, I sing for 3 hours and I start to lose, a stamina, whatever it may be. For me, it's really important to listen to them. Essentially, that's what I want to do. I want to help. I'm there to help them. It's not going, oh, well, here are the things that a singer should have, or here are the things that you should be aiming for. To some degree, there is a baseline of technique, I believe, that is needed so that you don't lose your voice, you don't get injured. And that's very individual for the singer, because everyone's built differently and they move differently. And it's so I look at that holistically as an approach to go, what do you want from your voice? Is there anything that I can hear that is inhibiting that? And what can we aim for that hits your goal, but also can maximize other things that you may not have thought of, to the best of my ability?
Fantastic. Yeah. And like I said before, the great thing about you is, they can go on YouTube, they can watch this podcast. There's no doubt that Kelsey can sing, as opposed to the dude who's done the AMEB course 40 years ago and the faded certificates in the back of the wall. And you go to the lesson and out comes the curriculum. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, that's right.
There we go. And just on that, probably my favourite singer of all time is the late Eva Cassidy. I'm sure you're a fan of Eva.
Oh, she's just gorgeous. One of my favorites.
Completely self-taught as a singer and just a natural gift. Another one of my favourite sort of performers, both a singer and piano player, is Diana Krall.
Beautiful.
Now, there's one heck of a piano player.
Absolutely. If I could rise to 1/100th of a level.
But interestingly, Diana studied classical and jazz piano, formerly at Berklee College of Music, but she's never had a vocal lesson in her life. And according to, if I can trust Google, it was the great jazz bass player Ray Brown who said, Diana, you should sing some. You'll greatly expand your performance possibilities if you just sing a few songs. So Diana Krall started by Ray Brown saying, just sing a few songs, summertime something. It'll add to your performance. And of course,
absolutely.
Yeah, she sings in such a beautiful way. My other favourite singer, one of my absolute favourites, and you might know her, Dami Im. Do you know Dami?
Oh, yes. Yeah, she's amazing.
Oh. I don't think we need to say anything more. But she sort of grew up in Brisbane and studied essentially, I think, a bit like the same course as you did. She did a master's in contemporary voice. And I like to mention those things because Louis Armstrong never had a lesson in life, and there's a million universities around the world eating off his coattails of how to play jazz. He just pressed the buttons down until he found the sound he wanted, But there's a gap there, Eva Cassidy, completely self-taught, Dami in master's degree in contemporary voice, both extraordinary. So I don't think there's one, I don't think a trained voice versus an untrained voice. Do you agree that you can't say you must study singing to be a good singer?
I think that you absolutely. So there's a lot of similar, there's a lot of stars who come up through a non-structured or like a tertiary or, a learned process.
Yes.
Because experience, same thing with Louis Armstrong. If you're out in the clubs like 5 to 7, just playing and playing, you're ingraining a lot of music, and you might be, feeling tired. Or you might be feeling all of the music that comes in those moments is very, very important. And I think the training of it in a way could get you there could get you a faster pathway to learning scales or to learning, technique or that sort of a thing. But putting all of that time and experience of expressing, of writing, of performing, of being on a stage,
doing it,
nothing can take that away. So whether or not there is, the Eva or the Dami, neither are wrong, not at all. But you can go either way.
It can be a balance. It can be a mixture of those. Totally agree.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now let's have a look and a listen to you back in duo mode. Again, you're just singing here. You're not being asked to play an instrument. You've got a great guitarist on acoustic guitar. This is Can't Take My Eyes Off of You. Who's the gentleman playing the acoustic with you here?
That would be Gling Hunt, who is absolutely incredible on guitar, and he can sing in his own right as well. So
Let's have a it's beautiful. Let's have a look and listen to your duo version of the old Frankie Valli song, Can't Take My Eyes Off of You.
You're just too good to be true. I can't take my eyes off of you. You'd be like heaven to touch. I wanna hold you so much. At long last love has arrived, and I thank God I'm alive. You're just too good to be true. I can't take my eyes off of you. I love you, baby, and if it's quite alright, I need you, baby, to warm the lonely nights. Oh, pretty baby, trust in me when I say I need you, baby. Don't bring me down, I pray. Oh, pretty baby, now that I've found you, stay and let me love you, baby. Let me love you.
I had the privilege probably about a month back of wandering aimlessly into the Doo-Bop Piano Bar, which anyone who knows Brisbane, which is where Kelsey's from, one of the third largest city in Australia, there's a little bar right in the CBD, no cover charge. I think it starts about 7 o'clock and they kick them out at God only knows what hour in the morning. But there's, it's all about people going there for a chat, having a laugh, having a drink. It's not a restaurant. And you and a bass player, electric bass player, were just really nailing it. I walked in the middle of Simply the Best, and there would have been 60, 70 people up on the dance floor wearing themselves out. And you and your friend on bass. Do you remember who that electric bass player was?
Yeah, so Jeremy O'Connor, he's such a fabulous upright player, but also electric player too. So he can double both, which is tricky. But he does the stomp pedal, he does percussive, movements on the bass. He can do it all.
These guys were absolutely kicking it. And I know you occasionally do the graveyard shift, the 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. shift. But that's too late for me at my age. I caught you on one of your earlier nights. But can you talk about, like, the reality of the music business is that bar owner is wanting you to wear those people out so they're as thirsty as a camel and are going to spend up big at the bar. That's all he's looking for. He's not looking for the standing ovation or the deep and meaningful version of Mr. Bojangles. What's that like for you?
It's a different type of gig altogether. So for the Doo-Bop Bar, it's not necessarily a listening audience in that, a jazz club would be, or a festival stage or something else. So the aim is a little bit more tilted towards more people in, get them dancing so they can go to the bar and spend some money, which is, again, if they don't do that, then you're a little bit in, what's the word? you could be kicked out.
The danger zone. Yeah. They're not really looking for an introverted Thelonious Monk duo version. It's not the crowd. It's not the venue and it's not the crowd. But talk about, because you're a great musician, and by the way, you did a fantastic version of Tina Turner's Simply the Best. You two were rocking, like just the two of you. How do you get through a night like that where there's, you might not play a C major seventh chord anywhere. It might be minor, major, and a seventh all night, and loud and thumping, which is very different to what we've heard some of your beautiful interpretations. How do you switch as a musician? How do you get through that, I suppose?
That has been a process too. So I've been at the Doo-Bop Bar for about 2 years, and I tell you what, that first performance, I was there going, I don't know if this is going to work or if I can do the really dancey music for this amount of time, because it's, for me, the other end completely of that, gigging, what's required of you. So with the mind frame of that, because Jeremy is really amazing and he's helped, to train me up, as it were, and to curve the the type of songs that we play, or the songs that we play in a row, which ones work, which ones don't, because some do work and some don't work, and some can clear a dance floor and some can grab everyone up on a dance floor. And it's, in a way, being able to visually, it's been a good exercise for me in that, do I have the stamina vocally and on piano? Can I play the tunes that are required to play? You can make it as basic as you want, but then you can put little details and little motives and little riffs like that. So as a dance machine, gig, you think, okay, this is another good challenge. One, I can upskill my own instruments, which is excellent. Two, you're gaining this repertoire that can get people up on the dance floor, and you have the confidence to be able to pull it off as well. So that's where having Jeremy there to, go, oh, that one, not so much, this one, possibly. And you learn, you go back and forth, and it's a process of trust, and to go, okay, do you want to do the dance machine thing? If you do, you could do that forever. There's nothing wrong with it. For me, I love the intimate duos and the listening audience. And for me, it's that expression. There's nothing that will take that away. That's where it's at, I think. But there's something in, getting a room full of people who are coming away from their jobs. They want a moment. They want to have some fun. You go, let's connect on this level.
They got a lot to say about you. All of the things you say, all the things that you do. Well, does it hurt you? Is it worth it? Come on and tell me the truth. But he can treat me wrong. He can do it all day long. 'Cause when he loves me like he should, hurts to feel this good. It hurts to feel this good.
Kelsey, I want to head back to that great 6-piece band with the horns in the background. You're back in the studio, beautifully filmed and recorded. You're playing an old song called Walking on Sunshine. There's a lot of energy in this, but it's controlled energy. Do you find, one thing that I love about studio recording is, and we can talk about this, is total control over instrument mixes and volumes. And, if the trumpet player live is 3 times louder than the tenor sax player, in the studio, we can deal with that. Live, sort of throwing a rubbish bin over his head, you're not going to really quieten that trumpet player down. Do you enjoy the control you have in a studio environment?
I do. It can almost be exactly what you were saying. It could be a little bit of a double-edged sword, in that because you have the control, you could also take out the energy or the atmosphere that is given in a studio sense. So you've got to be really careful about that balance, but also at the same time, if you want something to be a little bit louder in the mix, or you want to pan it or place it as if you're listening to a band in a specific setting, then that's pretty special too.
Totally agree. Let's have a look and a listen to Walking on Sunshine.
Now every time I go for the mail,
Can you tell us a bit about your approach to singing in a recording studio, and maybe just some tips for people on microphone technique, on learning to sing with headphones? What do you find? What's the key differences between recording a vocal track in a studio, even if it's at home, but in a professional studio or any studio environment, as opposed to performing live, where you're either managing the sound on your own PA, or you've got someone you hope you can trust at the back of the room mixing the sound of you for the audience? Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah. So recording, if you're in a studio that has an engineer, having an engineer that you can trust is, and who's got that experience with vocals, because I find that some of them have a bias, which is not an issue towards, guitar or drums. So then the voice gets sort of drowned out. So someone who's got a little bit of a balance of that is great. If you're recording at home, then the type of microphone will be important. The distance of the microphone will be important. If you're comfortable having an ear off or both ears on, you could also do it acoustically, depending on your setup. But I think it's finding what works for you, and also doesn't detract from the quality of the sound that you're wanting to record. And yeah, so the equipment, you don't have to have the biggest. If you have, for example, like a 20 grand, vintage microphone, it's not going to act well in this room. That's for sure. You need the space for the microphone. So don't go off spending all of your savings.
Agree. The exciting thing is, if we go right back to the first song, the Alicia Keys song, it's hard to realise Alicia wrote, recorded and produced that when she was 23.
Yeah, amazing.
Isn't that incredible?
Amazing.
The skill. I grew up in the 1960s, so my first hero band was Creedence Clearwater Revival. The Beatles had just split up, and Creedence were the number one band. But I marvel nowadays, if you're singing Have You Ever Seen the Rain or Proud Mary or something, John Fogerty, who wrote all those, he was 21, 22, 23 when he wrote all of those amazing songs, like Long As I Can See the Light. The depth of the depths of the lyrics in that Alicia Keys song at 23. Do you find that? Do you find it like, wow?
It's incredible, absolutely incredible, because you think, wow, to be in that space, but also the way that that's come together. It's almost like a perfect storm.
Oh, it is.
You couldn't wish upon it. You've got to be in that process and doing it and going, this is what it sounds like. That's what's in my head. That's what I want to communicate to everyone.
Oh, I know. And one final comment, and we're here in Australia, this little best place in the world, this little big island at the bottom of the world with 28 million people, half the population of California. That just puts it in perspective. And I mean, I just had a little bit of look at Alicia Keys' journey in music. Sold 90 million albums. Have a crack at that in Australia, Wow. 17 Grammy Awards and an estimated net worth at, I think she's in about 42 or 43 now, of 150 million US from music. Wow. I really think, here in Australia, we can sort of say, oh, you can't do anything. You play at the RSL club, mate. That's as high as we can rise. I just want to talk to you about that, because you're a young lady right in there at the moment, in the midst of your career. Do you think it's important to, chasing gold is not the answer, but there is this Australian flea lid. Okay, mate, don't stick your head up beyond that. We don't do that. What's your take on that? Because there are some people having enormous success in music.
It really matters, I think, what you want, like the goals that you want from your music and from that. If you want to play in all of the RSLs, go for it. There's nothing wrong with that. Then it's a matter of, how do I maximize playing? Can I travel around Australia and do that?
Yeah.
Or do I want to stay in the one spot and then maximize that, all of the RSLs around me in that vicinity?
Yes.
But if you're doing the Alicia Keys goal, it's not to say that is not impossible at all. And I think if you have that dream, then I had a friend of mine who says, you ask 10 people and you might get 9 no's, but the next one will be a yes. So you keep going. Persistence in this industry will almost get you everywhere. I mean, the skill and, you know, the people that, you know, connecting and networking, but you've got, you know, if you want to write originals and don't think that they're not going to get anywhere. How do you get that original to the next step, whatever that may be? How do you get your RSL playing to the next step, whatever that may be? If you just go, someone's going to listen to me or someone's going to pick me up. I mean, maybe that's the chance of luck, you know, with the whole, it's on YouTube or it's on, you know, I've got to put all this content on Instagram or Facebook or whatever it may be. And all of the exposure that you can do, but the quality of the exposure and also the specific goals in mind. Otherwise, you could spread yourself really thin and go, oh, it's not working or nothing's happening for me. I'm not getting any better. I'm not networking with the right people. Having that as the specific goal, you know, is going to help you at least navigate and hopefully as well, you know, fine tune your process and as a musician, but also financially, you know, the balance that you want in life, all of that. It affects everything, I think. So,
fantastic. Fantastic advice, Kelsey. Really advice that's come from living the life. I agree with everything you said. You know, the most important thing is, what do I want to achieve from my art, whatever it is? And if that's sitting in your bedroom writing original songs that only you and your mum and your dog hears, great. If that gives you satisfaction, fantastic.
Yeah.
If you want to do an Alicia Keys and sell 90 million records, you might have to leave home. You might not be, able to
get
do
out
that.
of the bedroom.
Exactly. And I think that's where people can have a frustrating life. I want to win 17 Grammy Awards, but I don't want to leave home. I'm not going to move from home. I think, you know.
Exactly. The attitude, that makes such a difference. You know, you think, oh, you know, if they could do it at this, it's, you know, that exposure. How much did Alicia Keys write to get to 9? You know, how much did she tour? Who did she know? What was she recording? All the hard work that can sometimes, or I think a lot of the times, go unsung.
I got the pleasure of seeing Norah Jones live when she came to Brisbane probably 20 years ago at QPAC. In an era of madness and electronic music, Norah comes out and just sits on the grand piano and sings some beautiful songs. And I thought, oh my goodness, hello, do I like this? Now, you do a beautiful version here of Don't Know Why. You're playing it with an upright bass player and a guitarist. Do you remember who those players were?
I think that's Paul Henderson on guitar and Samuel Green. I think that's his last name.
Okay.
But, yeah, amazing.
Wonderful players.
Wonderful players.
And the feeling here sums up a lot. I mean, you couldn't get any further from the bar scene than what you're doing here. And my only comment is, you can almost get anyone off the street. I could probably have a crack at Simply the Best, you know.
Yes, you do a great job.
I would do a great job. Yeah. But I'm never, ever going on camera having a crack at singing Don't Know Why. I'm telling you that. So let's have a look and a listen to this beautiful Norah Jones song.
I waited till I saw the sun. Don't know why I didn't come. I left you by the house of fun. Don't know why I didn't come. I don't know why I didn't come. When I saw the break of day, I wish that I could fly away instead of kneeling in the sand, catching teardrops in my hands. My heart is drenched in wine, but you'll be on my mind forever.
Kelsey, what's your approach when you've got to sing harmony vocals as opposed to the melody line, the lead line? Have you got any tips for people who want to get into that, background vocals and singing harmony.
Yes. And in a way, background vocals are almost more strict, I find, because you need to blend with the lead vocalist. And the lead vocalist can, in a way, do a little bit more, agility, runs, riffs, whatever they feel. With backing vocals, rhythmically, you have to be on point. Tonally, you can't go too much outside of the box because you're trying to blend with the lead vocal. So in a way, you want to make sure that your rhythm is on point, and also the harmony and the accuracy of getting to the harmony. If you're sliding all over the place, for example, as a backing vocals, it can be distracting. So especially if you're layering your own vocals or you're working with a couple of backing vocalists at the same time, you'll hear it's like a really perfect choir. You've got to have your, timing for cutoffs, entries. What's the vowel? What's the blend? Do people have a lot of vibrato, or are we doing a straight tone? You have to think of it a little bit more when combining in that way. But I love harmonies because of the challenge of it. But also, it's not just about oohs and ahs. You can be really creative with backing vocals in that maybe it's a call and response, or maybe you can change the harmony notes. Maybe you can put in a couple of words, or it can link the next phrase. It's really creative and challenging. I love it.
Great. So I think that was a great point you said about blending. So if you think of a group like the Manhattan Transfer or Singers Unlimited, you got 4 unique voices and yet they blend. So that was really interesting that you said, it's not like you don't really want to hear a specific person's voice in that background vocals. If you're singing behind Ian Moss, which I think you've done, a great Australian singer, well, Ian's, leave him in the spotlight.
Right.
Don't really want to hear, that's Renee Gayer and someone in the background. Their job is not to be sticking out too much. It's very similar in playing a saxophone quartet or something like that. It's a different task. You've got to leave your ego at the door and say, well, how do I have to play, or in your case, sing, for the betterment of, to get the best result.
Exactly. You're part of a team in that regard, and you've really got to, leave the egos at the door and go, how can I serve the song? How do we make it better as the team? And not to get, offended if it's like, oh no, that harmony doesn't work, or you maybe it needs to be this, this melody or this tuning, or absolutely.
So with all your study, like sight reading singing, is that something, I imagine that would have been something you would have had to have learned, was it, in the study or not?
Well, the sight singing came from, again, something that I picked up when I was really young, and I was in the group music class from a very young age, and I recognized the music notes and rests and then time signatures and key signatures from a very early age. When I was then moved into the choir, I couldn't even touch the floor. I was sitting on the seat in the front row, and all of the choruses, and I'm reading along, going, I can see what the notes are, and I know how long to hold them.
You can hear it off the page.
As you're reading it, you're hearing it, and you go, oh, I'm hearing what I'm reading. And then you start to produce it, and you make it. Sight singing takes time. Like earwork, it takes time. So because of my exposure from a young age, then you can recognize intervals, and you can recognize, there's a sharp in front of that. It's going to sound like this. It's tuning your inner ear to what you're visually seeing. Because I know a lot of singers won't necessarily have that skill, and that's completely fine.
Yes.
Having that in a studio setting, if someone goes, can you sing this note, or this is what I'm feeling for this harmony, we don't have a lot of time, that's when that skill can really come into handy. And rehearsals and, specific arrangements where you go, I need to be able to know where I am in the music.
What's your thoughts on singers using backing tracks? I mean, if you're at home and on your own and you don't play an instrument, are you a fan of saying, well, worst case scenario, practice with backing tracks, or are you anti-backing tracks?
Oh, not anti-backing tracks. I used to practice with, if you had exams or if you had, a recording of musicians. For me, the backing track, especially if you can't accompany yourself. Accompanying yourself is a whole other skill if you don't have the time, or you've got to learn that and have it catch up, as it were, to the level that you're at, or at least a level that you can accompany yourself. So backing tracks, I have no issue with suggesting it and recommending it and, you know, using them if you're working on something specific as well. Of course, having a live musician is going to breathe music. It's going to breathe life into the music because it might change, or there's more that you can move within it as opposed to a backing track, which is going to be the same every time. So if you're learning to sing and you're trying to get used to your own, boundaries, as it were, then a backing track's going to give you something that is going to be consistent. And you go, okay, I'm making this mistake. I'm making this mistake. Okay, I've got to practice it. I've got to do this. And it'll be there every time. You can repeat it. You can do it at any stage. You don't have to call up, your musician friends and go, hey, I really feel like rehearsing right now. Are you free?
Let's have a look at, this is a great little medley of songs where you work Rock With You and About Damn Time together, and your role changes. It starts with the guitarist taking the lead role, and you're doing some keyboard synthesizer stuff and some harmony vocals. And then as the song switches, you become the lead vocalist and the guitarist swaps the role. Fantastic sound from a 3-piece backing band. Can we give those musicians the credit? So you've got a bass player, guitar player and drummer here. Who were those guys?
Absolutely. So we've got Gling Hunt on guitar and vocals. Pat Farrell is on bass and Lachlan Hawkins is on drums. So again, phenomenal musicians, and just the fluidity in their playing can make it sound so full.
The sound on this is extraordinary for a 3-piece backing band, and the vocals fantastic. And you also show another string in your bow, that you are playing keyboards here, but your job is not to play the chords and not to back yourself. You're doing the little synthesizer fills, which is a different skill. Let's have a look and listen to Rock With You swinging into About Damn Time.
Fight it, there ain't nothing that you can do. Relax your mind, think back and groove with mine. When you feel that heat, we can ride the boogie, share that beat alone.
Oh, I've been so down and under pressure. Yeah, the stress, yeah. Oh, I'm not the girl I once or used to be. But I might be better. Turn up the music, turn down the lights. I got a feeling I'm gonna be alright. Okay, alright. It's about damn time. Turn up the music. Let's celebrate. I got a feeling I'm gonna be okay.
Kelsey, what's your take on playing originals versus covers? Everything we've seen today has been fantastic material, time-tested material, and your interpretation of a proven song. But you also do write some original music. Talk a little bit about that, how you see the fit between originals versus covers.
That's a great question. This is at the level of, having regular gigs and getting, money into the bank. The covers can go a long way because you've got lots of venues that want, the top hit songs. So RSLs, piano bars, restaurants, corporate gigs, weddings. It would be a very unique gig if someone was getting married and say, can you play all of your originals? Like, wonderful. Yes, absolutely.
Can I just share with you? And I mean, I try not to outwardly show it, but if I go to a gig and a band plays a crappy first song and they say, that's track 1 from our new 13-piece original album. And tonight we're going to play, I am looking for those exit doors. But as a musician, I understand the creative urge. So talk a little bit more. I agree that covers is the way to go to get and keep a job. But do you like to squeeze in an original or two in your set? Yeah. Okay,
absolutely. And I think exactly what you were saying, you don't necessarily want your audience to be victims to music they've not necessarily heard. And they're like, I'm expecting you to play simply the
That's right.
And we get this low, just an a cappella vocal thing with a bass bow. But I think putting in an original for especially the gigs where you can put a couple in, absolutely. I'm all about that. And then you're putting your music out there in that setting and also feeling how it feels. You're honing it every time that you play it. So I wouldn't, and that's just, if you were getting all of these cover gigs and you had original music, where are you playing your original music? It needs to live, I think, in order for it to survive necessarily. But having that, intertwined with the cover gigs if you can. 100%, because original music is in a way you can interpret your cover songs, but having something that you have written, that you have created a melody to, the harmony, the chords, how you play it, there's something very unique about that and very special, no matter how many cover songs that you play. Something that comes from you. It's unexplainable.
Oh no, it is. I'm with you. I know exactly what you're doing. I guess I get my fill of that, which is so important. I'm not a jazz musician, but I'm a creative musician. And every time I get to play a solo or something, I'm thinking, well, hello, I'm sort of writing I'm writing my original moment right now.
Exactly.
So for me, if I was a singer, I've got to ask the audience to buy into my most emotional period in my life where I've wrote this breakup song and it's so important to me. But your audience are just, dropping down another schooner and thinking like, can you play something we know, love?
That's exactly right.
But the other thing that is important for us all to remember is every song we've heard you sing today at one time was an original song played for the first time by that artist.
Exactly.
I did go to a Fleetwood Mac concert probably before you were born. It was horrendous. They just put out their album Tusk. And me and my friends, we all played with, don't stop. We're waiting for thinking about it. We're there. Yeah. And it starts with, it's the African drum beats and it's like, it's their Tusk album. And they played it every song. And only at the end, at the risk of a riot and maybe them not getting out, did they play a couple of tracks from Rumours.
Yeah.
Now, that was at the time, they were one of the world's top bands, but got it wrong. They got their audience,
Absolutely. I think that's really important for if you have a best-selling song or a song that is popular and it's popular, then in a way, give the people what they want because they might have played it to death. They might have been so sick of it that they go, we've got new music. It's this fine balance, but there's no right or wrong, equation for it. But give a little bit of the older music that got you to this place. And if you want to promote the new music, for sure. But if it's
gently,
gently
promote and test the water and think, geez, no one seemed to really like that. Maybe that's right.
That's right.
So on originals, one quick question: do you have a process when you're composing an original tune, or is it just fly by the seat of your pants? How do you go about writing an original song?
This is an interesting process because for me, sometimes, it's the whole, there's an idea that hits you and then you run with it. And for me, when you're in that moment, running with it is really important to do because you're in the moment where it has been produced, where it's, come into creation. So there are those moments that definitely happen. There are also some where if I'm fatigued or I'm really tired and I'm sitting at the piano or with the guitar and I'm just strumming along thinking, okay, here's an idea or here's a concept, or I really like the sound of these chords together. It could be that simple for me as well. Yes. Or if I've written something down that I go, I really like lyrically how this sounds, how can I then add chords to it? So I don't necessarily have I always write the lyrics,
Mm.
then I always put the chords to it. Sometimes it's the opposite direction, or it's a mixture. You hear something and it inspires you into going, I really love that African drum beat. So, how can I put something to that to make
You should have been at the Fleetwood Mac concert. You got a whole half of it.
Yeah, where was I?
Are you a sort of a goals orientated person? Have you got your 5-year plan, or have you got, if I wake up tomorrow, thank you, and I'll have my plan tomorrow? What type of, how do you approach life? Are you really structured? I'm going to do this in the next 2 years, and
That has been a process as well for me finding out what I do. So I have structured goals with Midnight Fever, for example. That was a very structured approach, going, this is what we need, ABC, and this is what we're going to follow, and we're going to, run at it with a stick and just keep going.
Yeah.
But then with originals, for example, I've got a goal to release an EP this year, which is on its way. So going, okay, instead of going, it has to be done by, the 1st of September. Rigid goals can be good if you've got a recording in process, like you can work backwards from it. So I think it depends on the project. For me, the originals I've been a bit loose with because the Midnight Fever, takes over for this period of time. But then to have, for example, a 5-year plan of going, I want to release these many tunes and this, this amount of albums and that sort of a thing. I'm probably a little bit more loose on that process. It could be tighter, but I really love performing so many different styles of music and, performing with amazing musicians. That for me, the upskilling, as long as I'm upskilling and challenging, what I can do and continue to write and continue to perform, then yeah, I'm pretty happy chappy.
Oh, it's obvious. Not a bit chappy. You're a pretty happy lady. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So this is a wonderful arrangement of Black, but it's a real jazz arrangement. It actually reminds, in the middle, there's this beautiful orchestrated scat singing. And it really reminded me, I don't know whether you're old enough to remember Cleo Lane and John Dankworth.
I do know the names.
Well,
yeah.
I got to see them live in Australia many, many years ago, and Cleo had the most gorgeous voice. Like, I don't know vocal thing, but she could hit the fattest F above high C, not a Mariah Carey whistle, nail it. And she goes right down, I think below the tenor range.
Wow.
Her husband was an amazing jazz alto sax player and clarinet player. And they did a little song called Song Without Words. And it's sort of what you do here. And to see them live, it was just chilling.
Amazing.
And I love what you and the band do here, because you bring that, we're not just improvising. We've taken the time to work out a line, sort of a Ella Fitzgerald line, but we're actually not just Scooby bopping it. Mm-hmm. We're orchestrating it. Mm. Are you brave enough to name all the members of the band that we'll see in this clip? Because there's a few of them.
Well, yeah, we're going to get it. I know. I really should minimise the band.
Take us through the band. It's a great lineup. Fantastic players, beautifully recorded and filmed. Take me through this band.
So we've got Cleon Barraclough on keys and voice. We've got the amazing Mal Woods on trumpet, who's a local hero on the trumpet. David Cox on the saxophone, similar in his accomplishments. We've got Mr. Andrew Shaw on the bass, David Watts on drums, and Cynthia Luz, I think that's how you pronounce her last name, on the percussion, which, again, they all are such monsters in their own right that they command what they want from the instrument, and then coming together and being able to do that is just, it's a room full of energy, that's for sure. And
it is.
Yeah.
And like we talked about earlier, you're in the lead vocal female role, and you've went to a lot of trouble taking on a period. I don't know whether it's the Gatsby era or what era are you taking on in your dress in this? Because it's not your normal, singing at the club dress.
Yeah, we don't just whip it on at 9
No. So what sort of era are you trying to create here?
This is a 1950s Hollywood glam kind of a look. So We've got the short hair and that sort of style of dress and jewelry as well to create that vibe as well. It goes hand in hand with the arrangements and, you know, what we're trying to put forward.
Well,
Yeah.
congratulations to everyone involved in this. Let's take a look and a listen to Blackbird. This is Midnight Fever.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly all your life. You have been waiting for this moment to arise.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these sunken eyes and learn to see all your life. You have been waiting for this moment to arise. Blackbird fly. Blackbird fly. Blackbird fly.
Into the light of the dark black night.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly all your life. You have been waiting for this moment to arise. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these sunken eyes and learn to see all your life.
You have been waiting for
This moment to be free. Blackbird fly. Blackbird fly. Blackbird fly. Blackbird fly. Into the night of a dark black night.
Kelsey, unbelievable playing there. You said you love hanging around with good musicians. You had a room full of them there. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Now, before I let you go, what's your best piece of advice, particularly for someone young thinking about a life in music? They're at that stage. School's coming to an end. Their parents are quietly horrified that their daughter or son loves music and keeps talking about a music career. You're in there. You've been living the life.
Musician as a goal, if you've got a direction or how you want to be perceived and what you want to do, be a little bit specific in your direction as a musician. And also it's a double prong here. Give it a go. because the last thing I think that you want to do is live with the regret of not throwing yourself into it and thinking 20 or 30 or 40 years down, I should have kept up playing the guitar because it gave me something that I don't get from, anywhere else or from my job that I'm sitting in and doing the thing. Especially when you're young, you've got time, you've got energy, expose yourself to great music, go and see it, feel it, and hone in on what you want to hone in on and give it a crack,
Brilliant advice. Love it. I'm often reminded of Ricky Nelson's great song Garden Party, which was sort of autobiographical for Ricky. But there's a line in that which I think is the best advice I can give to anyone. You can't please everyone, so you got to please yourself.
Absolutely.
I think that's
Agreed.
it.
Agreed.
I think Ricky nailed it. Now, one of the great things I love about doing these podcasts, and you're my 44th guest that I've had on, is I get to play with everyone. I say to all my guests, hey, are you up for doing a collaboration? Everyone, yep, fantastic.
Absolutely. It's great.
Because I think it adds, otherwise it can be, it can almost be, depending on the age of the people, but, when we were good, a walk down memory lane, or worse than that, the journalist talking to the musician, the guy or girl who's never played a note on an instrument. Can you tell us about your next album? It's sort of, there's no relationship between them.
Right.
But you said absolutely yes, and you picked a great song, a Bill Withers song, Ain't No Sunshine. 1971, Bill won a Grammy for it. What I didn't know is that there's cover versions by, amongst a whole lot of other people, Michael Jackson, Tom Jones, and Paul McCartney. Not a bad lineup. No. But ladies and gentlemen, today you get to see Kelsey and Brian's cover version of Ain't No Sunshine. Mate, it's been fantastic talking to you. Thanks for being a part of this series. It's been really great.
Thank you so much for having me on here. It's been such a pleasure chatting with you and, and being able to chat with so many topics in mind as well.
Thanks, Kelsey.
Sunshine when he's gone. It's not warm when he's away. Ain't no sunshine when he's gone, and this house it ain't no home anytime he goes away. I wondered this time where he's gone. Wonder if he's gonna stay. Ain't no sunshine when he's gone, and this house it ain't no home anytime he goes away, he goes away. Oh, 'cause I know, yeah, I know. Ooh, I know. Ought to leave the young thing alone, 'cause you know there ain't no sunshine when he's gone. Sunshine when he's gone, only darkness every day. Ain't no sunshine when he's gone, and this house, it ain't no home anytime he goes home.